that's awesome because the rubber bands that the giraffe has on its toes they're not good for the giraffe. They have to be taken off, and that's why it's so important to have zoologists. And personally, I loved zoologists. I think that they're is a good profession, but at the same time, anthropologists are also important figures in society, and some might even argue that both anthropologists and zoologists have a more was going, but I told her that maybe she didn't want to go there because it wasn't time for the festival, and that's probably the best time to ever go to Chile. So I really like that place. And also lasagna, it doesn't really taste good unless you sprinkle a little bit of the metal on top of it and then scrape it off, because you can't eat metal or glass. That's bad for you. You can't eat plastic, and you can't eat metal, and you can't eat glass or wood or anything like that, because if you do, it's possible, I mean very probable honestly, that you could turn into an ant or a bee or just a plant. Most of the time people don't really see graves as they are, and that's because the metal might go underneath the dirt and kind of distort the appearance. Yeah, so basically that's what I meant in the whole story. So I hope you were following that, and yeah. So I literally don't even know how I even got that many words out, but yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video because, like I said, it's pretty late, but yeah, definitely look at my community tab for an upcoming poll. An upcoming poll. My mic sucks